good evening, everyone. Those that will be watching, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Because some people, this is their night. Some, this is their morning. Some, this is their afternoon. Some, this is their evening. For myself and Doris that is on call, this is our night, not necessarily evening. This is our night. Welcome to our training transfer effectiveness journey, which we started since January this year. So last week we talked about the PDP model. So today we're going to continue with the PDP model. For those that will be watching this video, welcome. Thank you for watching our videos on our YouTube. And so we'll just go without much ado, we'll just go straight into today. Once again, welcome. So glad you are here. Doris, welcome. So glad you are here. Doris is going to win our gift. Doris seems to be here all the time. Every week she's here. Welcome, Doris. The nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. And I see the Uduak's note taker. I also see, I think Topbed too. His note taker is also here. Topbed, oh, their note taker. They sent their AI to come and take the notes. Okay, so normally we'll talk about introductions. Let's get to know ourselves. You already know Doris. She's in Ghana. And so we'll move away with this introduction. Also, at this point, I also introduce myself. Doris already knows me. I don't need to introduce myself. If you've been watching this video, you would have known me because you'd have seen my introduction. Now, we're going to what we usually do every Thursday. But before I go ahead, I want to say a very big thank you to Doris. Before we started the recording, of course, people don't get to see what is said at the back before we start the recording. You get to only see what is recorded. And I told Doris, I'm really tired, and I've been in the session since morning. And if I had my way, I would have cancelled it. But for people like Doris and also the viewers, people that look forward to watching the video on YouTube, our videos on YouTube, it's for people like you and Doris, most especially Doris, people that take their time to come to be here. I said I will try my best to also be here and let's have the session. So maybe the session might not be as long as it usually is. However, it's important we have the session. So we'll have the session. So I beg your pardon. Please pardon me if I sound so tired and look so tired. I'm exhausted. However, that's what we do. The work of adding value, impacting. It's a passion for me, so it's not necessary. It doesn't look like work. So Doris, over to you. I hope today there's something you did like you did last week. So what? Every Thursday we do like a follow-up because we believe in practicality, being practical, not theory, talk. Whatever you learn I even hope those that are watching this YouTube, you're doing something. Every week as you watch it, you are doing something differently. So last week, Thursday, wow, Doris did something awesome and we're so proud of her. So every week, no matter how little it is, there's a saying that says little drops of water make an ocean. So it must not be something big, something even little, like even reading a book, or more on training transfer effectiveness to expound your knowledge, to expand your vocabulary, your knowledge towards training transfer effectiveness. So Doris, over to you. What do you have for us today?
So practically, as I narrated last week, so the department has not gotten back yet with their yes. they've not gotten back on their needs assessment. What is the gap that they want to fill and what skills, what will they see when the people come back? So we made a follow-up, but they've not come back yet. So we are waiting for them. But within the week and especially today, I've gone ahead to research again, dive deep into this training transfer.
I'm so proud of you, Doris. Don't worry. We'll hang out when I come to Ghana. I'm coming to Ghana on the 19th, of this month for a conference and for a breakfast meeting in line with the ITech conference. So we'll hang out. I will buy you lunch or dinner.
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of reading. So I try to follow Institute of Transfer, training transfer on LinkedIn. I've tried to read most of their articles. So I think I'm gathering my competencies.
Awesome.
Gathering my competencies.
Well done. Have you watched all our videos on our YouTube channel?
Yes, I have. Those that I missed.
Yes, you've watched it already. Wow, that's great. So do you follow me on LinkedIn? So you can follow me on LinkedIn.
Yes, I follow you on LinkedIn.
Wow, beautiful. So I'm sure so you can read their old posts I've done when I started on training transfer effectiveness. So maybe you can look at those old posts and help you to, you can refresh your memory, as in same thing you're trying to do to get knowledge. So there are some old posts that I did. I started posting on training transfer effectiveness last year. So you can go back as far back as last year and even follow our company. So Samson, maybe you should put our LinkedIn, the company, Brand Consulting Limited, the company's LinkedIn, Instagram, all our social media handles. Put it on the chat, please, so that you can follow. So every day we are churning out something. Doris, every day we are churning out something different. Yeah. So that could also help you too.
Okay.
So well done. You did it again today, Doris. You did it again. One action plan, one thing, one practical tip you've done. So well done. And I think I saw some persons.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Some persons come in when we're talking. So for those that just joined, you're welcome. I see Daniela. Daniela, welcome. I see Ehizo J. Welcome. If you don't mind, just like what we usually do here, just type into chat your name, where you're joining us from, and your role in your organization. That's though we've passed that slide. However, it's not too late. So just let us know your name and where you're joining in from, and your role in your organization. Okay, thank you, Doris. So we'll continue. So just like Doris, and for those joining us for the first time, and if you're joining us for the first time, please let us know. I think those names are joining us for the first time. Doris, have you heard those names before? I don't think so. I think you're joining us for the first time. So welcome. Samson, can you give them a welcome celebration, for joining us for the first time physically? I know a lot of people go to watch the YouTube, so welcome. So we started talking about the PDP model, which for those joining us for the first time, I hope you'll be able to flow. So we usually encourage people to go to our YouTube channels and watch some of the videos. You may not be able to finish everything before we meet again, because we meet every Thursday. However, it would help you because we've been building since January. So whatever we are talking about this week was a build-up of last week. Whatever we spoke of last week was a build-up of last 2 weeks. So we are building. So it's like, when you're building, you want to build a house, the foundation, everything. So you may not flow so well if you've not looked at, you've not watched the videos so that you can be able to follow. However, I will try my best to see, if you ask questions, to see how to help you to ensure that you follow through. So it's like a build up. Okay, let me see what is in the chat. Okay. Yeah, welcome Daniela. Daniela is Senior HR Generalist. She's from Chrome, West Africa. Welcome. Good to have you here. Welcome. Okay, so the PDP model, just to help you people, the PDP model is a second model we designed. Our organization designed, we use with our clients. The first one is the NPP model, which we've spoken about, is in our YouTube channel, and we'll touch a bit about it because we're using a case study on it. So we used it with a client earlier this year, and it's from the feedback from what we of course we will not tell you the client's name. We used a makeup name, right? And the process how we went through with the client, that's what we're going to share. So I always prefer, when facilitating, it is practical. So most of the cases I bring are cases with my clients, with our clients. And so what we just do is we swap their name, we change the name. So you can see that this is practical. This is relatable. It's not theory. It is practical. So this is one of the models we've developed. It's called the pre-training, during training, post-training transfer effectiveness model. It's a structured model. That's why it's called a model. Now, there's a difference between a framework and a model. This is a model because it is structured. You have to follow it like that. A framework, you can tweak and use it how you want to. But for this model, it is a model. It's not a framework. So it is a structure which you follow. So for you to be able to see ROI and ROE, for those watching the video for the first time, ROI is return on investment, ROE is return on expectation. For you to see ROI and ROE for every of your training initiative, you must follow this process. You do the pre, you do the during, you do the post. You cannot just do pre and jump to post. No. That's why I said it's not a framework. It is a structure. It's not a framework, it's a structure. And the structure is, you start with pre, which is the foundation. Lay the foundation. Awesome. A foundation that can take mansions. If you don't have a solid foundation, you will build a mansion on it and it will collapse. For those that build, at least have built, not me building with my hands, as in the family building, right? So I know about that, about foundation. They talk, and my brother-in-law is an architect. They talk about the solidness of the foundation, right? So pre, it has to be solid. During, then post. You cannot jump from pre to post, or jump from during, then post, then pre. It is a process. So it is a structured process that ensures that your training, every training initiative you carry on, you deliver, is not just delivered. You deliver the training, it is transferred. The skills and the knowledge your employees learn in the training room, be it a physical room, a virtual room, it doesn't matter. They're the same thing. Physical or virtual, those knowledge, those skills that they acquired, it is transferred back to the organization in a measurable way. So we measure it. So we are very high on M&E. M&E is measurement and evaluation. Now, so you can see why I said this is a model. For pre, you must measure at pre. If you don't measure at pre, you cannot evaluate at post. What do you want to evaluate when you've not measured? So you make use of data, you measure at pre, in order for you to be able to evaluate at post. So this is what our model does. So it guides organizations through the three phases of training: the pre-training, the during training, the post-training stages, in order to eliminate training scrap. Now, I've also talked about training scrap, talked about it in our YouTube channels, even on LinkedIn, my personal LinkedIn page and our company LinkedIn page. So just to briefly explain, training scrap is that aspect of training that is not applied in the workplace. And that's just what it is. So it guides you to ensure that you eliminate training scrap and do what? And deliver ROI and ROE for all your training initiatives. That is what our PDP model tries to do. Now, so if you look at the model, we have the phase one, the pre-training. So those are all the processes, the components that makes up the pre-training. I'm not going to read it out. You can see it. I'm not going to read it out. So those are the components that make up the pre-training. Then we have the phase two, which is the during training. You can see the components that make up the during training. I'm not going to also read it out again. We have 7 components that make up that. Then we have the phase 3, which is the post-training. We also have the components that make it, and that's 5 components that we have that make it up. Okay, then what are the expected outcomes out of this model? These are some of the expected outcomes. Application of learning in the workplace, that everything learned in training is applied in the workplace. There's a behavioral change, and the behavioral change is aligned with the expectations of management. There's data-backed evaluation. everything. If you don't have, without data, you cannot evaluate. So you must have data. So there's data-backed evaluation showing ROI and ROE. There's sustained learning through structured reinforcement, which is for the pro. So you even start that planning for the pre, to be able to get the post, the reinforcement and all that. You start at the pre. Then you also talk about it in the during, before we now work on it more in the post. Then leadership and line management engagement in driving training success. I also came up with, now this is a framework I came up with, not a model. And out of the years of my experience and research, I found out that for training transfer effectiveness, what we call the science of training transfer effectiveness and the art of training transfer effectiveness. If you check me out on LinkedIn, I also have that. I did a white paper on that, and I did it on LinkedIn. Now, the science of training transfer effectiveness has to do with the HR and the L&D. It has to do with models, framework, like this model we have, like the MVP model, like the Inner Zone is a framework, like Inner's framework, the 12 levers of training transfer effectiveness, the Kirkpatrick, the 4 levels of evaluation. We also have, so a lot of them. We also have Professor Robert Brinkerhoff. They have the Promote, which is the learning journey. Then we have Tom Meyer, which is, he has to do with during, which is the accelerated learning, which is during. So these people have the phases. So some of them are in pre-phase, some are during phase, some have post-phase. But what we are doing is our model takes care of the 3 phases: the pre, the during, and the post. So those are some of the things that are what the model will be does. So let's move ahead now, which is the PDP model. So today we are going to be looking at the first one, which is a pre-phase, and we're just going to look at the first component, because these components, they are so much. So we're going to just look at the first component. We're going to look at just the first component. Just give me a second. Okay, nothing. Yeah, okay. We're going to look at the first component, which is a strategic planning, training, transfer, design kickoff based on MVP insights. So like what we said earlier before, every performance issue is not a training issue. We use the MVP model to validate when there's a performance issue in your organization, in the business, and they come to you, and we give examples. We give it so many examples, and maybe a line manager comes to you, a director comes to you and says, I want to send my people on social training. Just like that, there's a need to validate this issue, that why he's asking you to send them on training. Is it really a training intervention that will solve that performance issue, or the reason, the need for that is asking for that training? So you use the MVP model to check. It's a diagnostic model that checks, is really training the solution, or is it a non-training intervention, or is it even an integrated approach whereby you use both a training intervention and a non-training intervention. So today we're going to be delving into the very first one, which is the strategic planning, training, transfer, design kickoff based on the MVP insights. So we're going to assume, using the case, one of the cases, I've spoken about this case before, one of our clients that we worked with in January. So we're going to use their case to talk about, to teach this, so that it can be very real and you'll be able to see it. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay. Okay, so the phase 1, which is the component 1, the strategic planning, training, transfer, design kickoff based on MVP insights. And see what I said. At this stage, I'm not asking what do you want them to learn. No. At this stage, the component 1 of pre-training phase, where you have to talk about the strategic planning, the design, the training transfer design based on your MVP insights. So at this stage, I'm not asking what do you want them to learn. What I am asking is, what must change in the business And how can training help that happen? So what must change in the business? Yeah. And how can training help that happen? So this is alignment, and that is the beginning of the PDP. So we are looking at alignment and the beginning of the PDP. So this is what component 1 does. So what this component is about? What is it about? So the component 1 looks at, it begins with designing a targeted outcomes-based training. So the training is, can I see something on the chat box? Just give me a second. Oh, for those of us that came with their AI, the AI is saying that their 30 minutes is over. Okay, so the phase begins with designing a targeted outcome-based training plan. So whatever training you're designing, it has to be targeted towards what the business is thinking about. So what the business wants, the business objective, right? What the business wants, the business objective. Good. So that is what this component 1 is going to be talking about. It aligns training goals with the business outcomes. Now, this business outcomes have been validated through the MVP. Don't forget, I talked about that, through the needs validation process. Now, it determines what knowledge and skills the training must address. It ensures the right conditions are in place for transfer to occur. So this is not instructional plan, it is transform informed design. So in this pre-training phase, we are looking at component 1. So this is what component 1 does. So we have 5 components. So it's going to talk about every other thing. It's going to also talk about the behaviors, what kind of behaviors we want to see. We're going to talk about measurement. It is down in those other components. So for this first component, this is what it does. So when you talk about strategic planning, training, transfer, design, kickoff, this is what it is all about. It tries to align training goals with the business outcomes, which was validated through the MVP. It determines what knowledge or skills the training must address. It ensures the right and it ensures it is smart. I cannot write everything. It ensures it is smart. It must be smart. It ensures that the right conditions are in place for transfer to occur. Because if the right conditions are not in place, transfer will not occur. So that's what the component 1 does. We are not designing training based on guesswork. I said it before that a lot of people, when they have a performance issue, the next thing is training. Send them on training. Now, this company, we worked with this company in January. And so let me give you a background of the company. For those that may not know the company. For those that have been coming, I've talked about the company. So let me give you a background of the company. The CEO reached out to us sometime last year, December last year, yeah? And she said she wanted us to train her staff and said they will come back to us in January. So January this year, they came back to us and listed, or maybe I should get there. Let me get there so I can show you the 5 things she talked about she wanted to train her staff on. So let me get there. So we're not designing training based on guesswork or what is trending. We are designing training to directly support the actual business needs we discovered through the needs validation process. Needs that must change for the business to move forward. I will take that again. Now, the component 1 aligns training goals with the business outcomes, validated through the MVP, which is our needs validation process. So we are not designing training based on guesswork. They have a performance issue. Let us send them on leadership training. Let us send them on delegation training. No. We are designing training based on what we got from the MVP. So the training is directly in support to the actual business outcomes, which we discovered through the MVP. And these needs, they must change. They must help enough for your business to move forward. Now, so this is where I will talk about this thing. Now let me move forward now. This is where I will talk about the client we worked with. Just give me Okay, so this is where, so I will call the company the LMP company. You can see LMP company case recap. Now, what was happening at the LMP company now? So the CEO reached out to us and said she wanted to train her staff on these things: documentation practices, communication issues, reactive work culture, leadership development, and HR management. And so when she did that, of course, we're already talking about the MVP. We've developed the model, and that's the way to go. We told her we cannot train your staff on this. We cannot do that. We must go through we're going to use our model, go through a process to check and validate if really all those things you talked about, they are training interventions. There's a possibility they all may be training interventions, and there's a possibility that they may not be training intervention, and it's a possibility that there may be an integration of both training interventions and non-training intervention. That was what we said to her. She was like, is she going to pay for the needs validation process? We said, yes, you would pay. Said, and if it is training, is she also going to pay for it? We said, yes, you would pay for it. And she was like, no, now let's just train. We said, no, we cannot just train. That we cannot just train. We are not in that game of just training again. We must validate. And because we came highly referred, right? She now said, okay. She paid for it, for the needs validation process, and we did it. It's a first step. I'm not going to talk about the first step because we've talked about it when we talked about MVP. Please watch the video, you see it. It's a 4-step process. So we did that and see the results. Let me show you the results. Now, after the needs validation process, this was from MVP. You can see I wrote from MVP to training focus areas. Out of those 5 things, it's not the 5 things she talked about. We found out that only 2 were training interventions. These 2. Communication and leadership development. Reactive work culture, documentation practices, HR management had nothing to do with training. We now told her, you can see, madam, if we just wanted to train for training's sake and because we will need the money, you would have lost money and the problem will continue. So there has to be a time whereby you say no to this again. We need the right thing to happen. You will lose money. And so we did an MVP, and this was what we came up with in the report. We sent the report to them, and we found that it's only communication and leadership development that were the 2 key challenges that required training. So the other 3 were non-training intervention, which we told them. So those 3 were non-training intervention, why these 2 are training intervention. So you can see what I said, what the MVP comes up with. It's either a training intervention, a non-training intervention, or an integration of both a training and a non-training intervention. And so we recommended the other. So these training areas were recommended alongside the non-training solutions. So let me tell you what we did. Let me continue. So it is based on that now that we now went into, so the first step in our training transfer effectiveness journey, what we're advocating is, the first step is the MVP. Validating if training is indeed what it is. After that, we move to the next one. So from the MVP model, you move to the PDP model, which is what I showed you when we started. And in the PDP model, we have 3 phases: the pre-training phase, the during training phase, the post-training phase. So we've been talking about, last week we started, we are talking about the pre-training phase. And we are talking about the very first component, which is what we are looking at. Now, so in that first component, there are 4 things that you do. So we were starting with this. So the first is who is in the room and why it matters. So you're going to have a meeting, and in the meeting, you're going to have a meeting with those that are necessary that should be in the room. So we talk about the sponsor, that's like, so the CEO, the sponsor of the training initiative, the HR lead or L&D partner, whichever your organization is using. Are you using HR, L&D? The heads of department, we're asking for those training, the potential participants or representatives, Then the training facilitator, either the internal or external. So they are external, they all have to be in this meeting. And the essence of the meeting is to what? To translate those things, two things. So we are using those two things, right? So to translate the NVP insight into a transfer-informed training. To use what? The NVP insight, which for us is those two, communication and leadership development, into a transfer-informed training plan, which is rooted in the business outcomes. Do not forget, it is all about the business outcomes. So these are the people. So depending on those are the training, you may have more than this, you may have less than this. It's very key that the training sponsor must be there. It's very key that the HR lead or the L&D partner must be there. Heads of the departments, those are actually maybe the several people from several departments, they should be there. If it's just one department, then one person will be there. Then the potential participants that are supposed to come for the training, if it's like maybe a training for everyone and there's someone to represent them, the person could come. If not, if that is not possible, that's fine, because you're going to still meet with those people later to validate what they are asking for. Then the training facilitator, you can see, to co-create a solution with the performance in mind. So this is what happens in the kickoff meeting. Now, what happens in the meeting? This is what happens in the meeting. Now, the meeting is not about curriculum, please. It's not about designing training curriculum. That's not what the meeting is about. The meeting is about connection. The meeting is about connecting the training to the business. That's what this meeting is about, this strategic planning meeting. Yeah? It's not about designing curriculum. It's not about the curriculum. It is about connecting the training to the business outcome. So without it, the training will just look good, but will do nothing will happen, and to turn into training scrap again. So in this meeting, you're talking about the business objective. It is reviewed to confirm clarity. The NVP findings are revisited which is the why. Why do we want to have this training? Now, the training objective of the goals are discussed in relation to business priorities, what the business is looking at. Now, the knowledge and skills are identified. Then the transfer conditions are raised. For instance, what's the workflow constraint? Because sometimes these employees may have constraints whereby their workload would hinder them from applying what they will learn. They need to find out, will I have the support of my manager, of my line managers? Will I even have the time to apply in a fast-paced organization? There are some organizations that are very fast-paced. Will I have the time to apply? So all these things will be discussed at this meeting. Now, we will go back to what we're using as our case study. Please feel free to type into chat. Let me check. So please feel free to type into chat. Please feel free to type into chat. If there are any questions, please feel free to type into chat. I'll be watching my chat and I would respond to it, please. Now we go into the business objective that anchors everything. If your training is not hitting on your business objective, you're wasting your time. It is a waste of time, waste of organization money, waste of people's time. It may not sometimes directly impact the business objective. Sometimes it indirectly impacts it. However, whichever you talk, directly or indirectly, it must be targeted to the business objective, to what the business wants to achieve. So I'm going to give you, you're already seeing it, of what the clients wanted to achieve, their business objective. Now, will you know that the client had not also defined her business objective very clear? So during the conversation, we had to keep asking, keep clarifying to ensure that the objective is clear. So that when it is achieved, you would know that the objective has been achieved. So if your objective is not clear, it's smart, it will be tough for you to be able to evaluate has the objective been achieved. Now, the why behind the training. Training does not exist in a vacuum. It must be anchored to a clearly defined business objective, one that reflects what the organization is trying to achieve, not just what it wants people to learn. I'll take that again. Training does not exist in a vacuum. It must be anchored to a clearly defined business objective, one that reflects what the organization is trying to achieve, not just what it wants people to learn. So it's what is the business trying to achieve. Now before we came to this, now let me share with you. The CEO, she said that they've been in business for like, I think 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. Please, maybe more than that, I can't remember. And they are looking at expansion. They are looking at expanding. So those were one of the reasons why she needed to even have this training to get her people, that they are expanding. They've been doing so great and all that, and expansion, how are they going to meet up with the expansion and everything? And so when she was talking about the expansion, they want to expand. So what do you mean they want to expand? What expansion? What do you mean? What are you planning? Expanding how? In what way? This was the back and forth. So you need to back and forth when you're designing. So I find out a lot of people find it difficult to design their business objectives, to make it smart. They know what they want to say in their brain, but to articulate it and put it in words could be sometimes difficult. It is a skill. I didn't get here one day. I kept practicing. I've worked with many hundreds of businesses, helping them. So there's something I do with EDC. EDC is Enterprise Development Center. It is the entrepreneurial arm of the PAU, Pan Atlantic University, and Lagos Business School. So Lagos Business School, I teach in Lagos Business School. EDC, I'm also a faculty there. There's something we call EIR, yes, Expert in Residence. EIR, Expert in Residence. So what we do there is we work with businesses, and I was in one of their Oxfam project for years. I joined them, and this is sitting down with business leaders, CEOs. I'm talking about big businesses, CEOs, helping them to articulate their vision, their mission, their business objectives. So I was always doing this. It was pro bono. Yeah. So we've been giving for a very long time. I sit with them hours and hours. I'm helping them, guiding them to articulate, and a lot were very, very thankful. So you can imagine those years of practice. So it made me better. I refined my skills when it comes to articulating business objectives. So there's no business that will come. I will sit with you. I will help you to articulate your objective. By the time I ask you the questions, clear questions, I will be able to help you to articulate that. So I didn't just get there one day. So if you want to be very great in articulating your business objective, it is practice. You need to keep practicing and becoming better. And so I'm very glad that I had those opportunities to work with those businesses, hundreds and hundreds of businesses, sitting with them sometime morning till afternoon, just talking with business owners, entrepreneurs, right? So at the end, this was what the business objective was. And they wanted to improve their internal operation efficiency and their leadership capacity by 30% over the next 4 months. And now to position the organization for business expansion in Q4 2025. This year, right? Now, so the business objective. So we review the business objective to reconfirm clarity and direction. And it's done at this component 1. So that is why I'm talking about this. Now, let me ask a question. I think I've spoken a lot. Now, question for you, audience, my participants. Have you ever designed a training without first asking, what is the business trying to achieve right now? Have you ever, if you don't want to unmute your microphone to share, you can type into chat. At least I will not call your name if you don't want anybody to know about you and all that. It's okay. But this is a place to learn. I've shared. I try to also be vulnerable. My mistakes I shared. You will not kill me. I make mistakes. I become better. That's how we learn. So if I've made mistake as a trainer, as a consultant, I will say it. And I'm learning and I'm becoming better. So have you ever designed a training without first asking, what is the business trying to achieve right now? Is there anyone that wants to share with us?
All my trainings. In fact, all the trainings I've organized.
Okay.
They were done without taking into consideration the objectives of the business.
Doris, can see why I said
considering
continue, please, Doris.
Where the sector in which I'm coming from, you just be there and the management will come and say, we have realized that people are this, they lack the skills, organize this training for them. Then you go ahead without going through the needs validation process or all these things, or taking into consideration what is the objective of the university for the year, and this training, will it bring impact to achieve those objectives? No. So This is a good place to start. I know it will be difficult, but we'll take it one step at a time.
I like that. Yay! Samson, please give Doris. Let me look for my own. Doris, I need to give you a reaction. Let me look for it on my other laptop. Yes, I've given you a reaction. I'm blowing for you. Don't worry. When I told you when I come to Ghana, because I told you I'm coming to Ghana for our iTech conference, our breakfast meeting. I'm taking you for either lunch or dinner. I should be in Ghana 19th of May this year. So I'll take you for breakfast or lunch. Awesome. Thank you so much, Doris. Thank you for being very, very, very vulnerable. Some persons will not want to say anything. They will hide it. Thank you for that. And we both know your sector, public sector in Nigeria. We also understand it. It's a crazy
seriously.
It's a crazy sector. But just like you said, little drops of water make an ocean. Just keep trying the little things you're doing. You just never know. One day you may just get the person that understands this and has seen the value, and the person will say, Doris, let's do this together.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So don't give up.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, is there any other person that wants to share with us? If not, let me move around. Okay, so just asking, what is NVP? So NVP is the needs, NVP, not MPV. So MVP is a needs validation process. So you need to go and watch our videos on YouTube. I'm sure Samson has dropped the link, so it will also help you. It's a needs validation process. That's what MVP is. Yeah. And Samson is correct, just like the municipal. Yeah, that's public sector. Public sector, that's what we find out. Okay, so let me move ahead. If there's no other person that has any comment to make. So before I move ahead, I want to just chip this in, even for those that will be watching the video. If you don't know the objective, the business objective, how do you want to prove impact? You don't know the business objective. How do you want to prove impact? How can you prove impact? And that is why I shared in I belong to LDNI. It's called Learning and Development. LDNI, let them not kill me. LDNI, let's leave it there, right? And
LND Africa.
No, not even LND Africa.
No, okay.
There's another one in Nigeria. Yeah,
okay.
In Nigeria. Okay. So maybe I may connect you if you're interested. You could join the LDNI.
Okay.
Now, I was with them. I had a L&D conversation with them throughout today. That's part of what got me very tired. So I was from morning till around past 4. And I said something to them. I've forgotten my line of thought. There was something I said to them I wanted to say, but I can't remember it. If I remember it, I'll bring it in. But what I'm trying to say is, if you don't know the business objective, how can you prove impact? And that's why, I've remembered. Yes, thank you. The CEO, I was training in one of the big business schools, and in one of the programs, one of the CEOs said to me and said, Madam, all this thing you're saying, anybody that I send on training, I collect it from their salary. Yes, he said that. He said, I collect it from their salary, that I'm no more training anybody for free. That and he said, I've stopped training. For those that want training, if you come, I will take it from your salary and I will train you. And all of us were dumbstruck. I was dumbstruck too.
That's serious.
But you know the interesting thing? Even though I was dumbstruck, I understood. Maybe because I'm an entrepreneur. I understood. This man has paid so much, millions, said, madam, millions in training. He said, where is the value? I have not seen the returns. You keep training people, they will come back, they are still the same. They say, madam, why are we now wasting money? If they want it, they should pay. So you can see where his pain and frustration is coming from. He spent millions of naira to train people and he's not seeing it. What do you expect from the man? He's angry, he's frustrated. And so that's why I'm calling out L&D's HR. You need to arise and start doing something. Right? I know that sometimes the stakeholders, management could also be a problem. Yeah, I understand that. However, I tell you, do your own part first. I've spoken to a lot of HR and L&D people. They don't know about M&E. They don't know about M&E, measurement and evaluation. Some run away from data. Some run away from measurement and evaluation. They run away from it. They don't even understand how to measure ROI. Some don't even know how ROE. Some reached out to me and said, Sandra, I am hearing ROE from you from the first time. They said, I've never, and this I'm talking about years, 15 years, 20 years in L&D and HR. Said, Sandra, I've never heard of ROE. You're the first person I'm hearing it from. So they do not know, right? And even some of we are training organizations are not even making matters better for you people, because even the trainers, they don't know. They don't even know how to help you to show that. And so to an extent, I didn't blame the man. I could feel his pain in this hard country we are in Nigeria. I don't know about your country for those that are different. I don't know about your economy. I'm talking about my own economy.
It's the same here.
Oh, it's the same. Okay. Oh. You know, and he's struggling to solve. He's trying to do the best he can. And he's paying millions every year and nothing is just going the drain. He said that he has cancelled it, no more in his organization. And this is not the best. I know. Not just being a trainer, and I am an employer of labor too. I know, but I understand too. You know, so this is a shout out. I'm calling you out, L&D HR. Please, whatever you need to do to go and learn how to show impact for every training initiative, please do it. Do it. Do your own part. Yeah? Then leave management to do their own part. Do your own part. Okay, I see something on chat. Let me see. Okay. I think it's something I'd read before. Okay, so whatever you need to do your own path, right? And that's why I am an advocate now. I'm advocating up and down. That's why I'm going to Ghana this month, in this May. In Lagos, we're going to be doing the breakfast meeting for the ITEC conference, talking about training transfer effectiveness again. In July, I'll be in Rwanda and Kenya, talking about training transfer effectiveness. So I'm going around African countries because I want to focus on Africa now. We want to focus on Africa. If you decide to go beyond, that's fine. But let's start. You know, they say charity begins at home. Let's start from our home. I was in a webinar. I had trainers with me. I asked them what training transfer effectiveness was. They didn't know. I asked them what training transfer was. They didn't know. And these are trainers. So we need to do something now. And I've decided to take the bull by the horn. Our company has decided to do it. So who are those there that are ready to join us? It's not going to be easy. Yeah? I've turned down trainings. Yes. Within the space of 2 months, I've turned down like 3 different trainings. Why? Because they were not ready for me to show them ROI and ROE. I said, if you don't want to see ROI and ROE, jump and pass me. Don't come to me. And I gave it out. I called other training company. Told them you can take it. Everyone is different. I am now in the stage whereby if any organization is not ready to see ROI and ROE for their training initiative, I will not touch you. It has nothing to do with pride. No. It has to do with we want to start doing the right thing now. That elephant in the room, HR and L&Ds are running away from. We are going to tackle it. Yeah, there's an elephant in the room. HR takes this way, L&D takes this way. You leave the elephant, and the elephant is still in the room. No more. And that elephant is training transfer effective. That elephant is M&E. We are going to deal with that elephant. And I turned down, I didn't take them. So every organization that wants return on investment, return expectation, then I will listen to you. I will work with you. If you don't want that, I will not. I didn't get here one day, just like I said in my LDNI group. It is stages, and this is the stage where I am in, and that is where I will continue to be. So I'm calling out to HRs, L&Ds, please do what you need to do. Let's show management. Do your part. I know there are so many others. I've been an employee here. My career, I've talked about my career. So maybe one day I'll talk deeply about my career. I've been an employee. Now I'm an employer. So I understand the two sides of the coin. And now I'm working with organizations. So I understand the two sides of the coin. So let's do our part, L&D. HR, do your part. Let's now wait for management to also do their part. And we're also talking to management because the breakfast meeting, we're going to be having CEOs come for the breakfast meeting. We're having L&D directors, HR leaders, managers. We're engaging them in Ghana, engaging them in Lagos, engaging them in Rwanda, engaging them in Kenya. We're engaging them in different African countries. Let's see what will come out of it. And we are hopeful that something will come out of it. Okay, so let me move faster. See me that I felt that we'll finish on time. So let me move faster now. Yeah, so translating the business objective into training objective. So you've seen the business objective. Don't forget what I told you the leader was talking about, what she said. She was talking about expansion. That was what she wanted to do. And so she wanted to get the people ready. It was working. We had to work on that to get that. Sometimes these people, the client, they'll just tell you, and they expect you as they are telling you should come up with it. And I don't have a problem with that. I'll ask you questions. Just tell me. I'll come up with your objectives for you. We'll together come up with it. So expansion. So now we've gotten the business objectives. Now we want to look at the training objective. Don't forget, it was 2 training needs, right? Communication and leadership development. So you're going to see how we turned those things as training objectives in line with the business objective. So this is practical. We don't do theory here. I don't do theory. Those that know me and have been in my sessions in LBS, in EDC, or doing practical, working with you one-on-one, I don't do theory. You can go and read theory anywhere. We talk practical here. So now, your training objectives must not just sound good. They must be aligned with the business objective. Let them not just sound good, please. Let them be aligned with what? The business objective. If they do not point back to the business outcome, they are noise. I'll take that again. Your training objectives must be aligned to the business objectives. Now, if they don't point back to the business outcome, they are noise, they are not strategy. I see people say we want one of the training objectives that we want them to understand how to lead. What's that? What does that mean? Please, what does that mean? Want them to understand how to lead. What does that mean? Understand is not even measurable. You cannot measure understand. You're not even supposed to use understand when you're talking about objectives, your training objective. What is understand how to lead? What does understand mean? If you ask 4 people, in short, all of us in this room, if I ask you what to understand, we're going to say different things. So you cannot measure that. You cannot measure it. You cannot evaluate it. So instead of saying understand, can you use words that are smart? That's by the way. Now, let's move on with this. Now, translating the business objective into training objectives. This is from strategy to skill focus. Now that the business objective is clear, it wasn't clear. It was a lot of running around, touching, asking questions. We now had it clear. We now define what are the knowledge and skills. Knowledge or skills or knowledge and skills that must be addressed through training. Not in isolation, but in service of that main objective. Don't forget the main objective. So you always go back to that business objective. You are looking at it to ensure that there is a dotted line or there's a straight line to that business objective. Now we're going to look at it again before I now show you what we came up with. So let's look at it again. The LMP company's business objective was to improve internal operational efficiency and leadership capacity by 30% over the next 4 months. In order to position the organization for business expansion in Q4 2025. Now, let's look at what we came up with. Now, so training focus area identified from NVP. So these were the areas identified from our NVP. You can remember communication and leadership development. Now, we now want to align the training objectives to the business objectives. We take communication. There were two, right? Communication and leadership. Now, let's talk about communication. Even before we got to this place, communication said they are not communicating well. What is they are not communicating well? In short, we are trying. Train us. We are trying. I said, what is they are not communicating well? That communication is very broad. What does communication mean? They are not communicating well. Now let me tell you. One of the organizations that reached out to me. By the way, Doris is also a public sector. They reached out to us and said they wanted to do a leadership training. And of course, I said, if you're not doing RI and RE, we turn you down. Then to help the woman, and I asked her, I said, what area of leadership training do you want to do? She said, they want to do communication training. They want to train their leaders to be able to communicate effectively. I said, what do you mean by communicate effectively? She said, now, this was over the phone. She said, now, to communicate effectively. I said, what do you mean by communicating effectively? She was getting angry. I've ruffled a lot of feathers in this my training transfer effectiveness. She got angry. So what do you mean now? To communicate effectively, to be able for people to understand what they're saying. I said, what do you mean by understand? The woman started getting angry. I said, don't get angry. I want to help you here. I'm not going to take the training, but I want to help you. And let me just summarize. After the back and forth, I spent over 30 minutes. You can see 30 minutes of my time. She did not pay me. Because to me, time is money. If you want to use my time, you have to pay me for it. So I said 30 minutes of my time. I know how much 30 minutes of my time is. Because I charge hourly. I know how much 30 minutes of my time is. So I gave her 30 minutes. I told her, after it, let me just summarize. She said, thank you so much, Madam Sandra. I sincerely appreciate you. I said, you're welcome. And I said in my mind, after you finish getting angry and finishing me, raising your voice at me, now you're thanking me. Now, what did we find out? After I kept digging, let me now tell you what she meant by communication. Now, the management was complaining that the senior managers, when an information is given to them, they don't relate it immediately to their direct reports, those working under them, because they are the ones that are the foot soldiers and they're the ones to carry out the operations. They don't cascade the information immediately. This is what, we started from communicating, they're not communicating effectively. And I told her, what is the turnaround time you want? Even if, so now we've gotten that the senior leaders need to be able to cascade information as they receive it. I said, how? Within what frame of time? He said, okay, in our policy, we have within 48 hours. I said, great. So meaning that any leader that does not cascade information gotten from management, top management, within 48 hours, you have that leader to blame. We're going to get on that leader. So you can see how I helped her. Even other things, because I'm looking at my time. I'm running out of time. Even other things. And that's when she now said, thank you so much. So can we stop this bogus and ambiguous, communicate effectively, understand how to lead? What is the meaning of all that? Can we bring it granular? Can we be able to determine, say it, smart? We have the SMART principle. If you don't know it, go and learn it. Anybody that is watching this video, you don't know it, go and learn it, practice, and try it, and you'll become better at it. So very quickly, so we go to, I need to move faster now. We go to, I'm so sorry. We go to now so for the communication, this was where we got to. Equip team members with the skills to deliver instructions using a structured format. So they were going to come up with a structured format that is that the team members, when they want to deliver instruction, there's a way they're going to follow it to deliver instruction. So that people, because they kept that that thing she was talking about, people not being able to communicate effectively and all that. That's a big word. What did you want them to do? What do you want them to do? This is what we got up with. So equip team members with the skills to deliver instruction using a structured format. What do we want? Who are we sending to when? The second thing we agreed on communication is validate task comprehension by requesting a summary of next steps. Because we had a situation whereby she said, when you tell one person something, the other person will not do it. The information is lost. So these are conversations that brought all this. So it is when you keep asking and asking, you're able to now put it in a box. So say validate task comprehension by requesting. So I've told you something. Now when I tell you something, you will give me a summary of what we talked about. So by requesting a summary of next step and provide written progress updates that include timelines and assign responsibility. Because we had issue whereby one say it's not me that they gave the work to. It wasn't me. It's not my job. Stories that we had when we were having the conversations with them during the MVP. This is for communication. So let me show you again for leadership, what we came up with for leadership. Now for leadership development, we came up with 3 things we're going to look at. Equip team leaders with the skills to set weekly team priorities. All those ones. Lead well. What is lead well? State expected outputs, deadlines, and ownership for each task. Whichever task you were giving anybody, you're delegating, you state the expected outputs, you state the deadlines, you state the ownership, who owns it. So this one will not say, it's not me, it's not me. It's very clear. Then conduct structured accountability check-ins and remove execution barriers that hinder team progress. So to build leadership capacity that supports operational readiness for expansion, which was what they wanted to do. So this is what we came up with. Okay, I think I've come to the end. Okay, I'm right in good time. So we've come to the end of we're going to stop here. It's already 8:18. So we'll continue to build up. Next week we'll go again, look at the next component. I'm thinking if I should look at the whole 5 components or not, because all these things I'm teaching here, it's our 18 weeks mastermind, which I'm going to be teaching the directors and HR lead managers that we are starting June 3rd, the mastermind program. So I won't want people that are paying, because these webinars are free, paying, give you everything, and people will still come and pay for it, too well. We will see how to go about it so that those that are paying for the course will not fail. Then let me just join the webinar then. But there's an accountability, there's peer-to-peer engagement. It's much more than what you see in a webinar. So at this point in time, let me stop for what are the questions you may have for me at this point in time. We're wrapping up already. What are the questions you may have for me at this point in time? We are in Q&A. What are the questions you may have for me at this point in time? Do you have questions? Do you have contributions? Do you have clarifications?
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you, Coach Sandra.
Okay, Doris, you're welcome.
Thank you for the insightful presentation.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
So, I have this situation at hand.
Okay.
It's not, there has not been any needs validation process.
Okay.
But the reports we have from staff about their employees are directed towards lack of proper supervising. So the relationship they have with their direct reports looks like there's not that relationship that you can have a conversation with your boss, and it looks like most staff are disengaged. So with this information, one of the people have been sent, one of the L&D officers has been sent to a training in Accra on supervisory skills. and the person was to come back and train the other supervisors on how to supervise their direct reports. So with this in mind, how do we go about it? I don't know if you get a scenario.
I get it very well. What if the issue was not that they don't have the supervisory skills? What if that's not the issue? What if the issue was, you saw the example I gave you, the SCU was saying that her people were they were not proactive. And we should come and train them on being proactive. The issue when we found that what the staff were complaining was that she doesn't give them enough time. She doesn't listen to them. I want them to train. If I train them on proactiveness, do you think anything will change?
No.
It won't change. So what if the issue is not that they don't have the skills to be able to supervise their direct reports? What if the issue is in the climate even of the place? Maybe the supervisors are not relating well. The interpersonal relationship they have with their direct report is not good. What if it is a toxic environment? What if people are unable to speak? People cannot talk again? After they go for that training, what do you think will happen? Nothing will change. Nothing will change. So since no needs validation process can be done because of maybe the kind of sector you are in, what I would say is let her come she has gone for the training. When she comes back, ask her, so have that one-on-one with her if you can. I don't know if you're higher than her, if you can have that conversation. What were the things she got, and what are the things she wants to do now? But before then, I also don't know if you can have that engagement with with these supervisors, and have the engagement with the people that are being supervised. You can have a focus group meeting. So for the staff of the woman, I didn't do one-on-one with them. We did a focus group. So focus group means you bring everybody all together and you've already prepared questions and you're asking them those questions. So that's what we did. So you could do that, or you could, if they are not open to speak amongst themselves, you can now do a one-on-one. Then also speak with the supervisors, because you need to find out the root cause, that why are they not supervising their people well? That's what the people are saying, that they are not supervising them well. Now let me ask, you should ask them, what does supervising well mean? What does supervising well mean? It's too vague. To me, supervising well, may not be the same thing with you. Is supervising well meaning that when I come, I'm like, Doris, do you need my help? What can I do for you? Doris, do this, I will hold your hand. Is that supervising well? Or is supervising well that if I decide that I don't want to be laughing, opening my 32 with you, I don't want to be holding your hand, means I'm not supervising well? What does supervising well mean? So you can see that these are words that are too big to use, that have not been deciphered, that have not been broken down to know what do these words mean. I don't know if that helps you, Doris.
Yes, Coach Sandra, it helped. It helped. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, are there more questions? If there are no more questions, let me move ahead and wrap up. See, Doris, we are thinking that we'll leave before 8:30. We'll leave in less than 1 hour.
Sandra, can I just say something?
Okay, there, please.
Thank you for the session so far. Yes, so this thing to me is now sounding like so we have this thing that we're currently doing in our organization, like a performance management system overhaul, right? And then it sounds like, when you're setting goals and you say supervise very well, your definition of supervise is different from my definition of supervise. So we need to define it. So what I hear you say is there's no room for assumption, there's no room for ambiguity.
Great.
All of us have to be on the same page in terms of what we are looking for to achieve or something. That's what it sounds like.
Great. That's what it is. Well done. You've gotten it, and I'm so glad you did. Because Supervise well. Okay, what does supervise well mean? Let three of us, let's say it now. I will tell you what I mean, what I understand by supervise well. So let's create a scenario now. Let's play it. Let's start with Doris. Doris, what does supervise well mean? Your own opinion. Just tell us your own opinion of supervise well. Daniela will tell us, then me, I will tell you our own supervise. And even Samson will tell us, four of us. In short, let's role play. I always like practical things. Let's role play it. To you, when you say you're a supervisor and they say they want you to supervise well, what do you understand that as?
Okay, so to me, one aspect would be to understand what are the strengths and maybe weaknesses of my people, and what can I capitalize on to help them to bring the best out from them.
Okay, so that's
that would be
supervise.
one aspect.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Daniela, what does supervise well mean for you?
Supervising well means being a good role model, like being a good example for your people under you to just follow. That's my definition of supervising well.
Okay,
Well,
thank
kind
you.
of in addition to Doris, making sure that people under you achieve their best. But first of all, I'll say first by role modeling what a good leader should be. Yeah.
Okay, Samson, what does supervise well mean to you before I say my own?
Okay, to me, it means as a supervisor, you understand the role, you understand the roles of your subordinates, ensure that operations are going well smoothly.
Okay, thank you, Samson. So for me, supervise well means that they should just be doing their work well. Whatever it is, the work they've been given to, they should do it well. That is what supervise well means. You're supposed to do closed door, and when you ensure you close that door. So can you hear us? These are 4 different people, and we've said different things about supervise well. Now, how do you now want to evaluate this supervise well? So if you do not have a definition for what supervise well means, we will be having this. And that's why I found out that in a lot of organizations, they have subjective performance appraisal. I heard it in one of the classes I did just day before yesterday. I did 2 leadership classes day before yesterday, Tuesday and Wednesday. I heard it. They said that it's so subjective and I'm talking of this is an international organization. Yeah. They said they are, and I'm like, as big as people are, I'm talking about big. I'm not going to say so more because this is recorded so that I don't say what I'm not supposed to say. This is recorded. They said their performance appraiser is subjective. They said they don't even have well-defined objectives. And I'm like, I was opening my mouth. International organization, your objectives are not well-defined. I said, more. For the local organizations and small businesses, we are in trouble. Do you get? So people do not know this and they are not ready to learn. They want to continue to stay in their ignorance. Come out of your ignorance and learn. Be open and say, I don't know, and learn. So thank you so much for bringing that. And Daniela, you helped us to do a role play for that. Thank you so much. So wrapping up now, every week I wrap up with a quote. Training doesn't begin with content. It begins with clarity. Clarity of purpose, clarity of business need, and clarity of what must change. That is the first work of transfer. I'm going to take that again. Training doesn't begin with content. It begins with clarity. Clarity of purpose, clarity of business need, and clarity of what must change. This is the first work of transfer. And I remain Sandra the Oracle, Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. And now, your next line of action. Daniela, I'm sure you've seen what Doris did. We always talk about what next of line of action. What will you do differently this week before we meet again next week, Thursday? Something, no matter how small it is, how granular it is, you must do something different. Even me, myself and Samson. Different. Where I can't, okay, see the book I'm reading. I don't know if I'll be able to. Oh, it's not showing. Let me see. Can it show? Yes, it just showed and went off again. It just showed and went off again. Oh, because of our music. So it said, Training on Trial by Jim Kirkpatrick and Wendy Kaiser Kirkpatrick. They are the ones that have that 4 levels of evaluation. So it's a book I've been reading. If you can see my bookshelf, I buy books like mad. Recently, I bought books from Amazon and they delivered it to Nigeria. You can imagine how much I paid in dollars to deliver books all the way from abroad, America, from Amazon to Nigeria. I paid through my nose in dollars. But that's it. So if me, that I'm teaching people, and yet I'm reading, I have books on M&E, I have books on transfer effectiveness. I am reading voraciously and getting better, because the moment you stop learning, you start dying. So even me myself, I'm still getting better and better and equipping myself. So please equip yourself. Now, this is the our mastermind program, which we've been talking about. So I just want to say it again. So are you ready to lead training that delivers real results? Join me, Sandra the Oracle, Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. It's an 18-week transformational journey. You're going to master the MVP and the PDP models. You're going to show return on investment and return on expectation for all your training initiatives. So we have what we call the impact case presentation, a capstone project, which you bring one of your training, either the ones you've done, the one you want to do, or the one that you're planning to do. We are going to walk you through it. And at the end, so from first week, we're ready. You're doing it, you're working it. So it's a capstone project, right? So we'll be doing that. Deliver measurable impact. So if you want to join us, it's starting. We had to move it. We have 3 people registered. Other people were talking about their organization having, when the accounts to pay that they've not gotten, that we should give, please. So we decided to give time. So we moved it to June 3rd. So you still have an opportunity to register. It's going to be all virtual, online to register. So send a message with the subject mastermind to info@mbrianconsultinggroup.com or call any of those numbers. This is not for the passive, it is for the bold. If you're not ready to see Aria and Aria, please don't join us. Yes, so it's not about the money. The money is even nothing, yeah, compared to the work I'm going to do with you. 18 weeks. The money is nothing. So it's not about the money. It's about the impact. Don't forget that we're on a movement. I am on a movement. Brand Consulting Limited, we're on a movement to change Africa. Training transfer effectiveness. Show it. RA and RE for businesses in Africa. So join us on that training. And again, I'm so glad to remind you of our iTech conference. It's happening live and direct. We've been announcing this on LinkedIn, our social media pages. The very first conference in the world, International Training Transfer Effectiveness Conference, never be held in Nigeria, Africa, or the world. Join us. It's a hybrid conference in Lagos Oriental Hotel, November 13 and 14. Do not miss this. So these are some of the speakers. We already have 12 confirmed speakers and we have 10 more to go. We're going to have 22 speakers. I'm speaking. Melanie is the keynote speaker. Martinelli, she's the CEO of the Institute for Transfer Effectiveness. She's coming all the way from Switzerland. She has bought a ticket, by the way. We have Tom Meyer, is the director of Accelerated Learning. Accelerated Learning is for the during. Is also coming all the way from Chicago. And we have Anna Langita. Anna is also into measurement and evaluation. She's coming all the way from Germany. And we have our own Africa Grown here. You can see them. These are great leaders. And so I don't think you want to miss this conference. And there's a side attraction to the conference. For all those that sign up for this conference, all those certifications I have that I pay thousands of dollars and euros, you're getting it cheap at a discounted amount. You're getting 4 certifications. 1, the certified transfer designer. That is, I have that certification. I'm the first certified transfer designer in Nigeria. I have that. I'm also the transfer enabler for the Institute for Transfer Effectiveness for Africa. So I'm in charge of the Africa region. You can get that at it. Go online and check how much they're paying. You're getting that at a discounted amount. The Kirkpatrick Bronze certification by the Kirkpatrick. I also did that too. I'm a certified Kirkpatrick professional bronze level. It's thousands or it's over $2,000 something. Go on their website. All this thing I'm telling you, go to their website and check. But because you're coming on this iTech conference, you're going to get a discounted rate, massive discount, because that's the arrangement and discussion I had with them. Accelerated Learning certification by Tom that looks at Tom Murray, the Center for Accelerated Learning, that looks at during. Go and check online again. discounted amount. Then we have the IFC LPI TPMA trainer certification. Daniela is once already certified in that. I'm sure. Ask Daniela, link up to her and ask her how did that go. It's a wonderful certification by the IFC and the LPI, right? And it's also coming at a discounted amount. And I have a lot of people that have even gotten certified IFC LPI. It's coming at a discounted price. So these are 4 certifications that you're going to get because you registered for and paid to come for the conference. Lastly, action step. You have to try one practical tip this week and share your experience with us next week. Please, just like Doris. In conclusion, old ways won't open new doors. Success doesn't come cheap. It comes with hard work. Are you willing to pay the price for success? The choice is yours now. What will it be? Finally, be happy and feel good about yourself always. I remain Coach Sandra Iheanacho, aka the Oracle, Africa's leading voice on training transfer effectiveness. That's my mobile number, WhatsApp, that's my LinkedIn, that's my IG. I don't really do X, but that's my X, and that's my email address. So I will stop sharing now. I think I see some things. I'm so sorry. We spent over 7 minutes a month over time. Please forgive me. I sincerely apologize for that. We never planned that. I see 3. I like that quote. When you stop learning, you start dying. Thank you so much, Daniela. Yeah, when you stop learning, you start dying. That's what it is. And that's why I've not stopped learning. I will keep buying books, keep certifying, keep reading, and keep becoming better. On this note, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone. I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Doris, for joining all the way from Ghana. Thank you, Ayuzo J, for joining in. Thank you, Daniela, for joining in. Thank you, Samson, for, though we are together, Samson, but let me thank you for also joining the call. And I look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday, again. Please reach out to people, spread the message. Spread the message, tell people to join the webinar, spread the message. We are looking for training transfer effectiveness advocates and ambassadors. I have 2 people that have said, one is from Kenya. No, both of them are from Kenya. I have someone else from one country that reached out to me in LinkedIn. So if you want to be a TT ambassador or a TT advocate, please reach out to us. You can also send us an email and we will tell you what it entails. Now let's go around and start changing and transforming the training initiatives in our various businesses. And until I come your way again next week, Thursday, I wish you all the best and thank you so much. Good night, everyone.